Kelsey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can? Okay, great. Kelsey, you feeling? How are you feeling?
Okay. I'm just a little stuffed up, but not terrible.
You were just exposed, right? You didn't test positive.
Yeah, I don't think I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, how are you feeling? You're muted. Can you hear me, Jesse? How are you feeling? Feeling all right? Yeah, okay. It won't let me turn on my mic. Okay.
Oh, it just worked. Sorry.
It just worked? Okay. Hey, Evan. Evan, you feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Now, you were just exposed. You didn't test positive, or did you test positive?
No, I test positive.
Okay, but you feeling all right?
Yeah, other than some migraines and some body aches, I'm doing all right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get started about 4 minutes. I'm going to have to go between screens. So just be patient, okay? Matthew Mayhew is also not here. He apparently suffered a really bad migraine after soccer practice. So he won't be here either. He won't be on Zoom either. But he'll be viewing this later. This will be recorded, uploaded to my YouTube channel. So there we are. Okay. We got a lively bunch here in class. So okay, about 3 minutes. Then we should be good to go. Okay. All right. Okay, I think it's time. Yeah, it's time to start. Okay, we got some folks on Zoom. Go ahead and wave to the folks on Zoom. Okay, there, they're waving back. And oh, the glare on that screen is legendary. That better? That's better. Now we can see Kelsey. Okay, if you have the syllabus, please get it out. This room, we can spread out nicely. This room, the acoustics in this room aren't bad. So hopefully projecting through these faces sometimes is not easy. So if you can't hear me, sit closer or get your hearing checked, either one. I don't know what else to do. All lectures will be recorded. So they'll either be recorded via Zoom or I'll use a program called Audacity. That's just an audio file though. You won't have the visual that you get with Zoom. The Zoom will get posted to my YouTube channel. The link will then be on Blackboard. And to show where it is, just so everybody knows where it is, I'm gonna share the screen. That way you can all see what's up. Okay. All right, so when you go, okay, come on, Zoom, settle down. When you go to Blackboard, go to Course Basics, and then there's the interview the pharmacist, instructions how to submit that. We'll get to that. Then there are recorded lectures. You click on that. This is our first lecture. That's where it'll be placed. Either a link will be there. The link will take you to the YouTube file on the YouTube channel, or it'll be an Audacity file. Well, it's recorded as an MP3, which you can then play. You can download into your phone, listen to it if you want to listen to it while you're, and so on and so forth, or, whatever. So use that as you need to. Also, we'll talk more about this later, but my nursing students use this a lot. Quizlet. Any of you use Quizlet? Most of you use Quizlet. Okay. This class is very flashcard friendly. Quizlets are good for flashcards, and the beauty of Quizlets is you can share each other's Quizlets. So let's say Mr. Lepard here makes a Quizlet that Lydia really likes. Lydia makes a Quizlet and she likes Mr. Lepard's Quizlet, so she can then ask him to share his Quizlet so you can get the benefits of his very nice Quizlet. That's the beauty of Quizlets. They're shareable. And these are kind of the electronic version of flashcards, of 3x5 cards. These won't get soaked in the rain. If you drop these in the snow, well, if you drop your phone in the snow, that's not good. But they won't, when I used 3x5 cards, they fell, I stepped on them. They had nice, footprint on them and stuff like that. These won't have that happen. Unless you drop your phone and you get a crack in your phone or something, then you have a crack across it. But these, you can do it, go over them between classes, during lunch, in the shower. No, don't do that in the shower. But you get the point. You can go over them, wherever. They're very useful in that regard. Okay, so very briefly, office hours are 1:30 to 2:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 1:30 to 2:30, Monday, Wednesday. My office, you guys know what it is, Whiteman Gibbs, top floor, next to the conference room, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this course, we are going to cover drugs that influence the circulatory system and the respiratory system. The course was designed for people who sit for the cardiac rehab exam, because cardiac rehab exam has a pharmacology part on it, and all the cardiac rehab students were taking that pharm part. So we put this class together so people could learn about blood pressure medicines, medicines that are used to lower cholesterol, medicines that are used to speed the heart up, slow the heart down, medicines that are used for the respiratory system, and then anticoagulants, things that heart patients tend to be on, and what have you. So we won't be able to cover all the other drugs. Psychopharms, we don't cover in this class. Antibiotics, we don't cover in this class. But the ones we do cover, we'll cover in some detail. Also, the goal of the class is to help you learn how to swear a healthcare professional, so to speak. So there's a bit of jargon that health professionals use. If you want to get into healthcare, you should, your freshman or sophomore year, have purchased a medical dictionary. You can either get print form, like Merriam-Webster's here, or there's ones you can get on your phone. And I don't care if you have electronic or if you have Merriam-Webster's. If you get the electronic one, it's updatable and it updates automatically. A lot of those you have to pay for them. They're not that expensive actually. And if you want to use them professionally, most people in the profession use them anyway. So Tabors is a good one. Merck is a very good one. Medscape is free. Hippocrates comes as a free version, and there's one that you pay for, which are extensive, but the Hippocrates is very good. There's several others that I can't remember off the head, but they're all very good. So some sort of medical dictionary. Now, when I first offered this class, I had students buy a textbook, and then we used half of it. So students are paying all this money, and they were using half the textbook. Then I went to McGraw-Hill, and I did the custom your textbook. That was cheaper, but we still ended up only using parts of it because I never quite found a book that just really was good for this class. So I ditched the textbook and I just took my handout and I glued them all together in this, and then we just put this together, and then you buy this from us for 20 bucks. That's cheap. So you're welcome. So you buy this for 20 quid from me either today or this week in the Natural Sciences office. You can buy it from Mrs. Schaefer. So it's literally hot the press. They finished doing these yesterday, so they're all set. So that's our textbook. Now, Mosby's makes a set of flip cards for pharmacology. Mosby's has little cartoons in it. They're kind of silly, but some of their little silly mnemonics really help you remember the drug. So if you like cartoons, if you like silly mnemonics, Mosby's makes little flip cards. Also, there is a program online called Picmonic. Picmonic. I don't know if you've heard of Picmonic or not. And Picmonic, again, for students, I believe you can get an account for reduced price. I need to check that, but usually I have to get an account. If you do it for free, you get, I think, free month. Then after that, you have to, anyone here have a Picmonic account? Yes? No? Okay. Picmonic has good mnemonic for pharmacology, but you have to pay for it. But I think for students, there's a discount you can get. So you talk about silly. Oh my, Picmonic is the quintessence of silly, but silly sometimes is memorable. So Picmonic is a good resource if you want to use silly mnemonics to try and learn this stuff. All right, we will have 3 exams in class, 1 final, and then there's quizzes every week to make sure you keep up stuff. There are natural science seminars. You have to do at least 2 of them. If you do a third, you can hand that in as an extra credit sort of thing. Focus. Focus is March 17th. They're all here. You must attend 3 sessions and write synopses of 3 sessions. So 2 seminars, 3 focus synopses, and that's 100 points total. Then there is a project called Ask Your Pharmacist or Interview with a Pharmacist. You should have received an email with your drug assignment. These days, you may have to call the pharmacist. So call a pharmacist, say, I'm a pharm student. I'm supposed to interview a pharmacist. Here's my drug. What would be a good time to talk to you about this? I'm really busy now. I know. That's why I'm calling to make an appointment. And if they say, we'll come in such and such, or if they say, well, look, call me back in 10 minutes. Call me back in half an hour, or I'll call you back, or something like that. And then there's a list of questions. I want you to ask them. Page 5. And don't let them get away with stock answers. They have prescribed these things. They've dispensed these things. They hear patients talk. They know about patient complaints. They know if patients say, yeah, works great. Doesn't work so well. Oh man, this stuff makes me itch. I got a rash. I don't want to tell you where, stuff like that. They hear stuff. I want you to pick their brain to know what sort of things patients experience with these drugs. So I want you to essentially tap their knowledge about the drug. Now, several surveys have shown in healthcare, pharmacists are underutilized. So this is my way of pushing you to the pharmacist, because who knows about drugs? Pharmacists know about drugs. So you have the whole semester to do this. You interview them, you fill this out, you submit the written, and then you have to do an oral presentation. So you record the oral presentation, the instructions online, then you're going to upload it to YouTube. And then the instructions are all there. You may have seen it already. Then you load the link into the assignment that's on Blackboard, and then I'll be able to view it and grade it. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a nice, fluid presentation. One that's organized, also one that doesn't trip over medical terminology or trip over the name of your drug. It's lisinopril. Don't do that, okay? Find out how to say your drug and be able to say it right every time. Now I realize if you have, Lambam Nivumab or something like that, okay, you have a taller order, but learn how to say your drug. Learn how to say your drug. And also, your talk should be 3 minutes. 3 minutes, yep. You got to cram all that into 3 minutes. When you guys work for PT, OT, PA, MD, you'll have to do little SNAR lunches. So the case study, you have 3 minutes to present it. And the rest is discussion. What happens if you go over? You get yelled at. You want to get yelled at? No, you don't. Who likes being yelled at? I don't. So instead, you get a ding on your grade. So 3 minutes, learn to be. All right. Then case studies, those are online. Due dates, I think, is on the schedule. If not, we can put them in. And then the worksheets are for vocabulary. Now, vocab, you can use dictionary, You can use resources online. Doesn't matter. Do the vocab sheets. That'll help you essentially get those in your head. Okay. Extra credit. You're allowed 2 extra credits, 20 points each. They can be extra science seminars, extra focus series stuff, or we can negotiate something if you get a bright idea. There's lots of interesting stuff coming out now. I don't know if any of you heard, there's a trial on the drug colchicine. Turns out colchicine, which is normally used to treat gout, is actually effective for early COVID-19. If you hear something, read something and say, hey, this might be a nice extra credit report, come talk to me. If you convince me, I'll say sure. If not, I'll say try again. All right, cheating. One word, don't. All the other stuff here you can read. This course has a lot of info, a lot of drugs, a lot of things about the drug. So what I want you to be able to do is this. So with each drug, you should be able to do the following. So the name of the drug, the name, I mean generic name. The trade name, that is the patent name for its formulation. So because that company that makes it might be different in Europe, that trade name under which it's licensed will be different. So the generic name will be the same. Atorvastatin is the same in Canada, in the US, in Mexico, in Spain, in the UK, in Belgium, in Poland, in Czechia, in Italy. It's the same. So we use the generic name for the drug. 2, it's indicate. That means what do you give it for? What do you give it for? Do you give it for high blood pressure? Do you give it for high serum cholesterol? Do you give it for pain? Do you give it for dizziness? Do you give it for psychosis? What's for? What's it for? 3, mechanism of action. Mechanism of action. Does it inhibit an enzyme? Does it activate gene expression? Does it inhibit neural transmission? Does it, what does it do? What does it do mechanistically? Mechanistically. 3, adverse effects, otherwise known as side effects. Does it make you itch? Does it give you diarrhea? Does it give you a headache? Does it raise your blood pressure? Does it constipate you? Does it, whatever. Adverse effects. Those will differ from person to person. Some of these will be common. Some of these will be uncommon. Some of these will be a nuisance. Some of these will be severe. How often do they occur? Those are all things to keep in mind. Then you have drug interactions and contraindication. So, do you give it to a pregnant woman? Do you give it to a woman who's breastfeeding? Do you give it to an elderly patient? Can you give it to kids? Do you give it to people with liver failure? Do you give it to people with renal problems? Contraindication, very important. Also, some drugs don't play nicely together. So some drugs, you just don't give them with other drugs. That's something to keep in mind. That's an example of a contraindication. And these are how I'd like you to categorize drugs in your mind. If you can do that for each drug we talk about, you will do very well in this class. Very good. Then we have plagiarism, definition. So guess what? Oh, I didn't know that was plagiarism. That doesn't fly. Because guess what? You can read. Yes, you're in college, so you know how to read. Read it. Then the schedule. So you see the black dot. That means we have a quiz. And then we have vocab sheets due, case studies due, exam dates, what have you. You can stick those in your calendar. Now, can these be changed? They can. If you come to me, if most of the class comes to me and says, Professor Ziegler changed the date of our, let's see, functional anatomy last semester, right? That's it now, it's this semester? It's this semester, okay. Professor Ziegler changed the date of our anatomy test. So now we have two tests that same day. Can this test be Friday instead of Monday? I may say, oh, let me think. And then someone else comes, says the same thing. Pretty soon half the class makes a request, and I'll probably say, yeah, okay. So, yeah, they can be negotiated, shall we say. Now, the final is pretty non-negotiable unless you have extenuating circumstances or something like that. Yeah, so that's something. Make sure you know when the final is. Guys, I don't know what this semester will hold for us. Cases right now in Michigan, US are going down. We've got these new strains, B117, B1345. They're more transmissible. You guys seeing the numbers in Portugal? They're climbing precipitously. Do you see what happened in Ireland? Like that. Will that happen to us? I don't know. I can't predict the future. Will we get a great big spike and have to go online? I don't know. I don't know. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. All right? And I'm not going to worry about the future. Are you? Because can you control it? Does worrying about it make you control it better? No. Does our Lord tell you to worry for the future? No. He says today has no worry for itself. Don't worry about the future. Let me handle that. So that's what we're going to do, right? Okay. So if we're online for the final, we're online for the final. And if we're online for the final, then I'll just email a test. You take it on Zoom, and we'll do that. So again, without complaining about it doesn't help. Now, one other thing about this class. Pharmacology constantly changing. There's a publication I get for a price. This is a medical letter. So already there are two drugs that I talk about in this class. New side effect coming up already. New indications are coming up already. I make a pledge to do my best to give you up-to-date information. So if something changes in the middle of the class, if something I told you 2 weeks ago is now true, roll with it. Guess what? When you become medical professionals, you're going to have to do the same. You're going to have to be a lifelong learner. So you're going to have to start being a lifelong learner in this class. So just keep that in mind. Stuff changes. Oh, well, way it goes. All right. Questions? Anything? Do you see anything on the syllabus that you're unsure of? I am pretty easy to find. If you can't come see me during office hours, I'm furniture around here. So it's seriously, I'm around. And Mitch and Beth keep teasing me that the gym is my second office, but don't believe it. So if you want to catch me some other time, fine. I'm doors open, just come on in. Okay. Seriously, I'm not hard to find. Also, how many athletes we have in here? Oh, mercy, most of the class. Okay. Stuff happens during the semester. Stuff gets rained out. Buses break down. People get sick. Games get canceled. I get it. I get it. You get a text. You're sitting in class, you get a text report to leave for such and such because it got rescheduled. You have no control over that. I get it. Just keeping in the loop, that's all I ask. Also, if you have to leave at a drop of a whatever, make sure that you tell me, and then we'll make arrangements for you to be able to take quizzes and tests at other times. We'll use the Ask Center as much as we can. Just keep me in the loop. Don't just disappear and say, oh yeah, I'll tell them when I get back. No, 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 no. Keep me in the loop. Okay, and I'm sure your coach would say the same thing. Right? Deal? Oh, that was anemic. Right? Well, do it or you're going to tick me off. There, how's that? Okay. Questions on anything? One last thing. I know I keep one last thing. My experience with this class has shown me people who study in groups do better than those who don't. So, if you have some friends in this class, and I assume if you look them, you know who your friends are, just right now, make a commitment to maybe get a group together and find a time you guys can meet, quiz each other, go over stuff. Hey, did you write down such and such? I didn't quite get that when he said such and such. What did he say? Try and study in groups, at least for some of the time. If you can't find a group, then maybe we could help you with that. Group study tends to alert people to things that they didn't get in class. If you don't know something, guess what? Not aware that you don't know it. It's only by interfacing with someone else that you find out what you missed. So study in groups. Study in groups. That's my advice to you. Okay. Enough said on that. Let's get back to something else. You all online? Do you have any questions? No? Okay. We're going to start with slides then. Okay. Very good. So I keep saying this online. I prefer things that are natural. What's that mean? Lydia, what do you think that means? Okay, okay. Like dirt? Okay. Like dirt. Okay, like pond scum. Like, now those wouldn't necessarily be good for you, would they? Okay, so natural. So if I find out what's in, say, tree bark, and I synthesize it in the lab, and it's chemically the same, that's what's in the tree bark, that's not natural. No, it's the same molecule. Now, let me ask you this, does your body care where it came from? No, your body doesn't care. It doesn't care. Let me show you something. So that natural or synthetic? What, you can't tell? How about that? No? Can't tell? Sure? No? Okay, that. Is that good for you? Jessica, you should recognize that molecule. We studied that last semester. That's thymine. See the size over? Yeah. Okay, which is natural? Which is natural? Can you tell? No? Okay, let's try this. Which is better for you, this or this? Can't tell? That is synthetic. That's vitamin D3. That's good for you. This is completely natural. This is trichothecene. This is deadly poisonous. A 1/10,000 dilution, a drop of that on your hand will cause your hands to burn uncontrollably, and then will cause the skin to peel from your hands. This is a component of yellow rain that Saddam Hussein used on the Kurds. It caused their skin to melt off their body. It's completely natural. So not everything that glitters is gold. So your body doesn't care if it's natural or synthetic. A natural poison will kill just as effectively as a synthetic one. A synthetic vitamin will nourish you just as well as a natural one. So be careful with this disjunction between natural and synthetic. It is largely artificial from the level, at least, of chemistry. All right, so what is pharmacology? Pharmacology, very simply, is using substances to modify the physiology or pathophysiology of the human body. So they prevent, they treat diseases, these pharmacological agents. It is a very, very integrated field of science. You have to know about human physiology. You have to know about human pathophysiology. You have to know something about chemistry. You have to know something about all those things and then put them together. That's why pharm is a bit of a bummer to study, because you're constantly pulling from other realms of knowledge. Also, we have in this class half biology, half HES. HES, you're taught to view the body very holistically. You're taught to take the microscope and pull it back and look at the whole body. Biologists, you're taught to look at cells and things that go on in cells and stuff like that. You're going to have to do a little of both in this class. You're going to have to go really closely, and then you're going to have to pull back. So you're going to constantly, you'll be getting whiplash a little bit in this class because of that. So it will challenge your way of thinking. That's okay. That's okay. It's good to be stretched for education. Toxicology. Toxicology. That is a branch of pharmacology. There's no laser on this. That is a branch of pharm that deals with poisons and how to deal with poisons once they're ingested, either intentionally or unintentionally. And poison centers at hospitals will be staffed by pharmacists, usually. Now, in our introductory remarks to this class, we have two sections. One is pharmacokinetics, the other is pharmacodynamics. Pharmacokinetics, that's basically what you do to the drug, what your body does to the drug, how it absorbs the drug, distributes the drug, metabolizes the drug, and then gets rid of it. That's pharmacokinetics. That's important. That's going to determine dosage. Then you have pharmacodynamics. Pharmacodynamics involves what the drug does to you. What are the targets in your body that the drug either modifies or affects or what have you? Some of those effects are therapeutic effects. Some of those effects are toxic effects. Very often, those two effects are the effects of two different doses. And so you want a drug that has a dose at which it's very effective therapeutically, doesn't cause many toxic effects. That's something called the therapeutic window. Some drugs have a wide therapeutic window. Others, very narrow therapeutic window. That's going to be something we're going to have to consider with certain drugs. Fexofenadine goes by the trade name Allegra. Fexofenadine, huge therapeutic window. There are no cases of anybody overdosing on fexofenadine. Theophylline, a drug for asthma, very narrow therapeutic window. If you're really careful when you dose theophylline. Or another drug for the heart, digoxin. Digoxin, really narrow therapeutic window. You have to be careful. Drug classes. Drug classes. We will only look at a few of these. So we'll look at, oh, can't see the red very well, can you? Cardiovascular drugs, smooth muscle affecting drugs, CNS drugs, we'll look at a few. We'll look at some painkillers. Blood, inflammation, gout drugs, look at a few of those, just a few. Chemotherapeutics, no, we're not going to look at those. GI drugs, no, won't look at those. Vaccines, no. Complex biologics, just a few. Stem cells, nope. So out of these, we're going to hit half. We'll hit about half of those drug classes. Drugs come in lots of different shapes and sizes. Some drugs are very simple molecules. Lithium, for example, lithium carbonate. Lithium carbonate is the drug of choice for maintenance of bipolar disorder. Lithium is an inorganic ion. Very small, very cheap, very easy to deliver. Most drugs are organic molecules. Some are simple. So valproate. Valproate is also used to treat bipolar disorder. It's also used to treat other types of psychiatric disorders as well. Very simple molecule, organic-wise. Others are peptides, insulin, glucagon, exenatide, liraglutide. Drugs like that are all peptides or peptide-like drugs. Some are the product of recombinant DNA technology. So some are actually proteins. So for example, some of you are probably familiar with a drug goes by the trade name of Humira. It's used for, well, lots of things now. Rheumatoid arthritis, also now for Crohn's disease, and it's being used now for ulcerative colitis and for psoriatic arthritis and for psoriasis. So that is alidimumab. That's the generic name of Humira, alidimumab. This is an antibody. It's a monoclonal antibody. And this monoclonal antibody is made by cells. It's a biologic. It's a biologic. So it can't be taken orally. Too big. Your body will just digest it. Some are modified sugars or derivatives of modified sugars. There's a drug for type 2 diabetes called acarbose. Acarbose. And it inhibits enzymes that degrade complex carbohydrates. So it prevents you from getting this big sugar spike after you've had a complex carb. That's a modified carbohydrate. Lipids, lipid-derived agents. These tend to be usually drugs that are very fat soluble. So you have to give them with a fat-rich meal. Ziprasidone. Ziprasidone goes by the trade name. Don't tell me. Geodon. That's used for personality disorders and for schizophrenia and other drugs like that. The lipid-soluble drug. Take it with a fat-rich meal for it to be absorbed properly. And then nucleic acids. COVID-19 vaccines. It's an synthetic RNA vaccine. So drugs vary. They vary wildly when it comes to their chemical nature. Very different. Drugs come from plants. They come from microbes. They come from animals. They sometimes are derivatives of these. So, for example, Taxol was used for breast and ovarian cancer. Now there is a derivative of Taxol called paclitaxel, and this is a very popular anti-cancer drug. It's a derivative of this drug. Microbes, many fungi, and some bacteria make a lot of our antibiotics. They make the base compound. So things like erythromycin was first made by soil bacteria. And then the other members of the macrolide group are chemical derivatives of erythromycin. Streptomycin was made by soil bacteria, and then derivatives of that form the other aminoglycoside antibiotics. The statins, which are used for cholesterol lowering, were first made by fungi. Compactum was the first one. The others are chemical derivatives of these original statins. So these come from lots of different elements. Some are wholly synthetic. They're just made by means of combinatorial chemistry or something like that. Then they're tested on cultured cells or something like that. Others are the result of recombinant DNA technology. So drugs get made in lots of different ways. Some modes of synthesis of drugs are very expensive. The drug, therefore, is expensive. That's just all there is to it. So I know cost of drugs is something that's a big of concern for lots of outfits, but some drugs are just very expensive to manufacture, even mass manufacture. Drugs are also very, very, very expensive to develop. And while drug companies come in for their share of criticism, we would not have had the COVID vaccines in the time we had, not for the private pharmaceutical companies dumping their resources into it. So, yeah, drug companies are the villain in some cases. Sometimes they wear the white hat. What's that video game that was really popular? A movie was made out of it. Come on, gamers. Resident Evil. And Resident Evil, who's the villain? Drug company, pharmaceutical company, Umbrella is a big villain in Resident Evil. Well, that was made back in the 90s. Now, drug companies aren't necessarily the big villain. So keep that in mind when it comes to stuff you read that's very anti-corporation. And formulations. When a drug is licensed by the FDA, the formulation is licensed. That formulation has to be given in a certain dose and in a certain manner. So for example, fentanyl. Fentanyl is a painkiller, an opioid painkiller. It comes as a liquid that you give by injection. It comes as a suppository that you put insert directly or vaginally. It comes also as a transdermal patch that you put on your skin. Those are the formulations of fentanyl that are licensed by the FDA. Now, can you get fentanyl as a tablet? Yes. Is it licensed in this country? No. No. So if you see fentanyl tablets, it came from someplace else, and a doctor cannot prescribe it unless they have some sort of special dispensation from the FDA to do so. So the formulation is what's approved. Now, the formulation will determine how the drug is delivered. So a fentanyl suppository, are you going to give that orally? Ooh, yuck. Ugh. Yes, no. No, 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 no. Fluorothane, that's used as a inhaled anesthetic. It's a so-called initiator. That is a gas. It's approved as a gas. There's a lipid soluble form that you can give intravenously. Can you give it intravenously in the States? No, it's not approved. Can you give it intravenously in Russia? Yeah, it's approved in Russia. You can't give it in the States, you'll lose your license for administering an unlicensed substance. So formulation is going to be very important. Come as liquids. They come as tablets, lozenges, suppositories, sprays, inhalants, dermal patches, ointments. You can get things that are coated. So stents that are put in arteries to wedge them open. They can be drug treated. You can get implants. For example, Norplants and things like that for birth control. You can get microparticles, nanoparticles, very ingenious formulations that are in tablets, and tablet dissolves, and the little microspheres will just kind of very slowly release the drug. Really, really, really ingenious. Then you get these little microchips up there that will release the drug in timed areas very gradually, very consistently. So your concentration of the drug stays constant throughout your body. That's used for chemotherapy. That's also used for people who have to be on antipsychotics because the court tells them they have to, but they refuse to take them. So the court then says, okay, you get the chip, pal. And that's usually court mandate. Or you get a patient who says, doc, I just can't remember to take my medicine. I'm sorry, I've tried. I use Post-it notes. I lose the Post-it notes. I set my phone breaks down. I'm sorry, I can't. And then the doc says, want the chip? And the patient says, let's go with the chip. And so then you sign your life away and then you get the chip. Now, the chip be taken out? Yeah, chip can be taken out. But some drugs can be administered via chip like that, which is, again, pretty ingenious. Now, there's a formulation of aripiprazole. It's an antipsychotic, got a chip in it, and it makes a signal that goes to your phone. So if you take it, the chip dissolves in your GI tract. When it dissolves, it sends out its burst, and it tells your phone that you took the drug. That way, when you go to your correction officer, you put up your phone, it tells you if you're drug compliant or not. Isn't that cool? That's really cool. So why do we need that? People are mentally ill, don't think they need medication. That's part of being mentally ill. You're psychotic. You believe things that aren't true, like you're fine when you're not. So they don't take medicine. So the question is, you have to take medicine. You have to prove you've taken the medicine. That's one way to do it, is with these little microchips. Oh, guys, our old friend is back. We haven't seen it in so long. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Okay. Little chemistry review. Some of you are breaking out in cold sweat. I can see it. Drugs. Drugs are going to address targets in your body. The 3D shape of the drug is going to determine how to interact with that target. So drugs will sometimes have a feature called stereochemistry. Now, if we look at these molecules, so this is tartaric acid. Have you guys ever used tartar sauce? This is in it. This is tartrate. So tartaric acid, as you can see, these two forms of tartaric acid, if we were to, I have this right here. Okay, you. Yeah, okay. Come here. They are mirror images of each other. Put a mirror here, here's my reflection. Now, can you superimpose them? Nope. So these are different stereoisomers of tartaric acid. They have the exact same empirical formula, but their shape, 3D shape in space is different. That is pharmacologically significant. So how do we classify these types of stereoisomers? Now, if two organic molecules are images of each other, they're called enantiomers. Enantiomers. If they have the same empirical formula and they are not mirror images of each other, they're called diastereomers. Diastereomers. So to classify different stereoisomers, there's a little trick and it goes like this. I'm going to do this in front of the camera so that our friends on Zoom can hopefully see this. So you take your molecule and you ask the question first. If you have a carbon and if it has 4 different constituents attached to it, Then you have what's called a chiral carbon. A chiral carbon. Now, if you have a chiral carbon, then you're going to have stereoisomers. No chiral carbons, no stereoisomers. You have a chiral carbon, you have stereoisomers. How many stereoisomers do you have? Well, depends upon the number of chiral carbons. Then you're going to go 2 raised to the number of chiral carbons. So let's take our friend here, tartaric acid. How many carbons does tartaric acid have? Come on, you. Well, different, 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 different. Yeah, these are carbon, but this is carbon with a carboxylic acid. This is carbon with these other things. So that's a chiral carbon. How about this one? Then different, different, different. 2 chiral carbons. So this has 4 different stereoisomers. So let's classify those stereoisomers. So you take your chiral carbon and you assign priorities to each molecule attached to the chiral carbon. How do you do that? You do that by molecular weight. The higher molecular weight, the higher the priority. Now, hydrogen. Where's hydrogen on molecular weight? It is going to be the loser here. So this is going to be the lowest priority. Oxygen, carbon, carbon. Is oxygen higher molecular weight or lower than carbon? Higher. So oxygen will be number 1. This will be number 4. We have a tie here. So what do we do when we have a tie? We go to the things attached to it. Here we have 2 oxygens. Here we have 1 and a hydrogen. So who wins? This one? This one. This one, because it has higher molecular weight things attached to it. So priority-wise will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Want me to do that again, or do you understand that? Good? Now, to determine what type of stereoisomer it is, you take the lowest priority, you turn it away from you, and you hold it like this. Then you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Goes like this. Is that the way the clock goes? Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, so it's the right way. So, if that's the way the clock goes, then it's the right way. So it's R, because that's the right way. Now, what if it goes counterclockwise? Well, do clocks go that way? No, then that's a stupid way. So it's S. Because clocks don't go that way, stupid. That's why it's S, because it's stupid. And it's R and S. So this one is R. And then you have to do it also for this one as well. So why is this significant for pharmacology? Because it's a drug. It comes as a stereoisomer. And this is a thought we'll pick up next time. We'll see the fact different stereoisomers have different pharmacologic activity. That's why this is important. Okay. See you guys on Friday. Okay, gang. See you Friday.